couple of Leafs trade-related things, okay? So Elliot Friedman on today's show said that at the deadline last year, he believes that the St. Louis Blues said, if you want Brayden Schenn, you're going to give us Cowan. Mm-hmm. You're going to give us Danford. You're going to give us somebody else, possibly a pick. Probably a higher pick. That was what was on the table. But apparently the deal fell apart because the Leafs weren't going to be able to get Luke Schenn. So Brayden Schenn wouldn't waive his deal. And sometimes the best deals are the ones you don't make.
Yeah. Well, because you would have had to pay for Luke Schenn too.
Yeah.
Who I believe was a second and a fourth.
Yes.
So you're giving up a second and a fourth and Danford and Cowan and another first?
Or second or third, maybe something like that.
It would have had to have been. What are you, conjuring a first out of your ass? Like, you don't have any.
I understand the desperation to want to do something because it was the last year with Marner. They did look good. They were leading the division. Like, I understand going all in at last year's deadline.
Sure,
and if the Leafs had started hot this year, no one would have cared.
No.
But you know, now that they look better, it feels better. I'm glad
Did he explain why the Schenn deal would be tied to the Brayden?
Because Brayden didn't want to come here unless Luke was here.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, he didn't want to be a Leaf that bad,
it's an odd
which I'm okay with.
Caveat.
Like, you don't want to be a Leaf, don't be here. Like that's, and I think if I'm GM Brad Treliving, I say, yeah, probably best that you don't come here then.
It's not a great caveat.
If that's what you're tied to, I respect it, but you're not a Toronto Maple Leaf. I don't think that's how it happened. I'm sure it was just Brayden Schenn said no.
Also, I'm just thinking, like, I'm assuming they don't do the Lawton deal.
I don't think I don't even know if Carlo gets done. Forget Lawton.
Right. Interesting.
So because that's
right, because then you have your
you got to have Minton and Gurbankin back, right?
Interesting.
So I like Brayden Schenn a ton. I think he's a great hockey player. I just don't think you could do that. I think Doug Wilson should have been GM of the year if he got that deal done.
Doug Armstrong.
Armstrong, excuse me. What did I say?
Wilson.
Oh, Doug Wilson was a GM though.
He sure
was. At least I got it within the same profession.
You did.
The other thing I want to mention is Jonas Siegel put together an article today on trade paths to bolster the Leafs' ailing blue line. 2 weeks ago, this article would have been unthinkable.
It's crazy.
But because the Leafs all of a sudden have claimed 14 of 16 possible points and have not lost in regulation since before Christmas, now we're talking trade. And so here are the three names he brings up.
Okay.
And he calls it, there's the triple, there's the double, and then there's the single.
Sure.
Right? And I will just tell you right now, boys, I am on team do fucking nothing.
Well, before you even read the names, they ain't in the triple market.
They're not. Rasmus Andersson.
No.
And it's so funny because Jonas does such a great job breaking down why Rasmus Andersson might be good and the history with Brad Treliving, and then finishes it with the probability of them adding him doesn't feel so high because they don't really have anything to give.
Jonas, I love you, buddy. What a waste of words. Rasmus Andersson is a Flame. He will never be a Leaf. Not as long as he's a Flame.
Even if the Leafs did have a package, the Flames are not doing business with Toronto.
If Rasmus Andersson ever becomes a Leaf, it'll be through another team.
Justin Falk was the double, playing about 22 minutes a night. He said the Blues might insist on a first-round pick of some kind, given that Carlo got that with a year left on his deal. Because again, Justin Falk's got a year left, so he's cost controlled, whatever.
You're not in a position to trade a first this year.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
He's also 34 in March.
No.
And I guess Jonas's thing is, well, the Leafs contention window is closing anyway, so why wouldn't you get these guys? And I'm like, we don't want to hasten that.
The cupboard is...
It's bare.
Not great, fellas.
Yeah, which is why I don't think you trade. But the last guy, and I might be into this, is Luke Schenn.
I saw that. I'm kind of into it.
And... what does Luke Schenn really cost you? It's not a second and a fourth.
He's being scratched by the last place team in the league, which is maybe why you shouldn't get him. But who's
you're going to tell me? So Luke Schenn to me has got to be an upgrade on Philip Myers.
Philip Myers. That's who he's replacing, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I'm okay with trying it.
And this time, though, I would say to Luke, if we're going to do this one more time, you can't sign in Nashville this offseason. You have to stay here. And I don't know that you take Luke Schenn and play him with Morgan Riley the way you did 3 years ago, because 3 years ago is an eternity.
It's a very long time.
But I do kind of like the idea of Schenn coming back, staying here as a depth piece for maybe the next 2 seasons and then becoming like a defensive coach. One thing that, Steve and Jesse and I saw in San Jose in spades was former players walking around teaching other players how to be great NHL players. Remember, it's a super young team.
Couldn't believe how many.
Nabokov, Thornton, Marlowe, Ricci, Boyle. Who else is there? Like all the studs basically from their big Stanley Cup run.
Greer's the GM.
Exactly. They're all there creating a great culture. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are like, oh, you don't play for us anymore? Get the hell out. Another guy I want to see in a role like that is Chris Tanev when he's done.
Oh, sure.
Like, I love that Chris Tanev is here because I want Chris Tanev to take Ben Danford aside and go, I'm going to make you into me. And it's going to take a few years.
I like seeing him in the locker room last night. He was another guy who made a cameo in that video.
He flew down.
I think that's a good sign, isn't it?
Well, the Leafs used to not allow that.
That's right.
If you were injured, you couldn't be around the team.
That's a Lou thing, and I want to say it stuck around, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So now
what you're asking for is what Jake Muzzin did. He's been he's worked with the Leafs ever since his retirement as their player development guy.
And I love
one of their player development guys. Yeah, he's around.
Isn't that the best? Like, you want that.
I'm mad Dubas stole Spezza.
And then like, I don't know what he costs you. Like Jonas says, would a 5th or a 6th rounder get it done? And at that point, I'm like, I don't care. A 5th or a 6th rounder seeing even a single game in the NHL would be shocking. It's rare that it happens.
At that point, if the Jets get something out of it, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And listen, the way the Jets draft, I don't think they will anyway. So the Luke Schenn thing makes sense, but I want to go back to the ethos. So the Leafs are on a bit of a run right now, guys. Why would you make a trade at all this year? Because I don't see, unless it's like something really low risk like a Luke Schenn, I don't really see the reasoning to do it this year because I feel like they're an incomplete team. We know they are. They're likable again. They're more likable than they were last year to me. But I do wonder about like throwing assets at a team that's not shown that they're a top of the division team.
Do I got to redo the LFR? Do nothing! Do I got to redo it?
I mean, you were
do nothing.
You were right. They did do something, and the something worked.
Stetcher.
Well, no.
Whoa, yeah, and then Savard.
Savard.
Yeah, my bad. Whoops.
Stetcher.
Sorry, it's been a long season.
No, not that Stetcher didn't work, but that was well after.
Yeah, well, and I would love to go back and look at our Stetcher segment because weren't we like, really?
Oh, yeah. I think everybody
Stetcher,
was.
That's what's going to right the ship. Oh, shit, boys. I think we're in trouble. Yeah. No, but context is important. When you're in free fall in a season that is still very much redeemable, yeah, I think you need to do something. This is why, like, we had a lot of debates in various group chats about, like, if they rebuilt or retooled, you recoup some assets. And I'm like, it's right there. You've been dog shit. You've been as bad as you've been for a decade, and you're like 3 points out. I don't think you can pull the chute yet. And here they are. They're still not in. I do think that's worth mentioning. But you're right there. You are in prime do-nothing territory at the moment.
Wow. I thank God you agree. I was like, holy shit. I thought I'd get both of you pushing back on me on this.
I think I asked last episode, like, if they should buy, and both of you said no. I don't think anybody looks at this team as like, hey, go out and sell your 2028 first round pick for something that may or may not help you make a mediocre playoff run. Like, this isn't a team that should be buying. If anything, they should be selling. Like Calle Yarncroke, who probably, like we just talked about him in and out of the lineup. There's somebody who's a UFA. That's a very useful player for a team. You can sell that asset.
I don't even know if I view that as selling. Like, he's such a marginal player for this team
But that's what selling is.
Yeah,
I guess.
You're selling a UFA.
I guess that's what Luke Schenn would be to the Jets.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're selling a UFA who's not going to come back next year for some sort of asset to restock. You just hold fort here. We know this team is up and down and shaky. Who knows if the true team here is the team we saw from October through Mark Savard or post Mark Savard. Like that should be
October through Mark Savard.
That's it's BC and AD.
You're absolutely right.
It's before it's BMS
BMS
or
and AMS.
AMS. That's the least.
Oh, that's
so we'll
great.
see post Olympics whether they are the AMS team, and then I think you just kind of go about your business.
We've seen them mid, we've seen them bad, we've seen them good. We still have time to figure out which one of those three things they are.
Now, if they don't lose a game from here till March 7th, trade deadline,
Sure.
they go 20-0.
Yeah.
Maybe you buy Ryan O'Reilly.
Maybe
You do. But right now, if you're asking the question, no, just sit down and be cool. Sit on your hands, Brad Treliving.
Yeah.
Steve, change your LFR title. It's do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yeah.
Brad.
Brad. No, it's just Brad. Instead of Brad. Okay.
You know
Brad.
what? I'm looking at CJ's trade board, which is trade board 3.0. Already somebody from this list got traded the day it came out, and that's Laurent Brossoit.
Oh.
But just under him, if there was a defenseman I would want the Leafs to trade for, it's Mario Ferraro. His name is on there. He's a UFA. That's a guy
That's a buy.
that I think, or you wait till he gets to be a UFA. I'd be shocked if the Sharks allowed him to do that. But I love Mario Ferraro, and I think he'd be a great fit on this team.
The Sharks are in business. Like that trade they made yesterday, I think it's more financial than anything, but it's
I mean, it gives
kind
them
of
cap room.
technically a buy.
Yeah.
They got goalie depth, traded a player who is retired.
Yep.
They exchanged a couple prospects, and I don't know if there were picks involved.
Yeah,
there
they sent a fourth to the Blackhawks.
It's a
It's a $4 million contract, isn't it? Or $5 million or something? It's a big contract.
It's a financial move with a sprinkle of soft buy, right? Like, why do you go out and get goalie depth? Oh, you have every intention of winning games. If you're tanking again, you don't do that. You're just like, we're losing. So what?
Mm-hmm.
No, you want to win.
And it's a busy league. Like there's a lot of teams, but it's probably gone unnoticed that as good as Askarov has been at the beginning of the season, he's been as bad as that now.
That's how bad he's been now.
Thank you. Over the last 10 games, he has not been good. And his save percentage on the season has dropped to an .893. And if you look at his recent record, it's just 3 goals given up every single game. And 3 goals or more every single game. Right. So they are clearly seeing if we actually want to be in a wild card hunt here, we might need goalie depth because the one guy who we thought we had at the beginning of the season might be a little shaky because he's young. And then it'll take time to get acclimatized to all this playing time in the NHL.